Okay, Chance McCoy. You're releasing your debut solo album, Wander Wide.
I was planning on putting a full-length album out. I recorded it several years ago. It's been done for a while. And, just started rolling out the release. I didn't feel like it was going very well, so I figured why release something if, there's not a good plan or not a good team to release the record, so I just scratched it. So it went back into the vault with many other songs and recordings and masters that are sitting now in the vault waiting to see the light of day.
You and Prince have something in common. He's got a big vault.
Yes. My vault is much bigger than my what I've released, for sure.
Hopefully you get something out soon.
Let's hope, right? I guess the power's in my hands, so I can do better than hope.
You said that it can be scary to step away from something that's been so successful. I think you were talking about your departure from Old Crow Medicine Show. Are you still technically with them, or did you officially leave?
No, I'm not playing with them anymore. I never officially left, I guess. I just decided to take a break from them, and now that break's gone on for a while, and then COVID hit and things like that. So, I guess I'm unofficially out of the band. Never kind of threw down the gauntlet and said I quit or anything like that, but decided to step away and do some other things. But I left that door open, so maybe one day I'll step through it again.
Good. I mean, it's not uncommon for someone who's in a band to kind of go off and do their own thing and test things out. And I hope your solo career is successful as well.
Thank you.
Go
ahead.
Have you been writing stuff on this and setting it to the side for yourself while you're with that band?
Yeah. I basically, while I was with that band, I was coming home and writing songs, and then I was kind of starting to become a bedroom producer and starting to produce some of my own music, and that kind of grew into getting some decent producer chops and getting some decent equipment for a recording studio, and I kind of built my own recording studio. And then I just started kind of built a recording studio in my basement in Nashville while I was living there, and then started doing that and producing my own music, and then decided to leave Nashville and move back to West Virginia, where I'm from, back to my farm in Monroe County, where I have been since the end of 2018. And I brought all my equipment with me and set up a studio in a sharecropper shack in the back of the farm. And right off the bat, I got a request to do a song for a movie. So that was really cool. I did a song for the movie Peanut Butter Falcon called Whippoorwill. And that went really, really well. And then I kind of decided that I wanted to branch out from being an artist to also being a music producer for other artists. And that's kind of been my main focus. It's kind of shifted during the pandemic into not only making my own music, but also producing music for other people. And right now, that's kind of what I'm doing. And I've been developing my farm into a destination recording studio where artists can come and be in this idyllic rural setting away from the rest of the world in this little bubble, and just focus on making music. And we're building a brand new addition to the sharecropper shack, a 900 square foot live room. And we just had our first band come in from Colorado and record a full-length record there last week. They're called Shovel Stone. Really, really cool band out of Denver, which I think has a lot of potential. And they're already starting to do really, really well in Colorado, so I was excited to work with them. But yeah, that's kind of grew out of just writing songs on the side. I wrote a lot of songs with Old Crow, and those made on the records, and that was really fun. But I always loved being creative, so just always writing on the side as well. And that kind of branched into writing in the studio. Instead of sitting there in a pad on a guitar, I just decided, well, why not just actually record the song while I'm writing it? So that's kind of my process now. Yeah.
Did you came on after Old Crow Medicine Show released their hit single, right? Oh, Wagon Wheel.
Yeah. So I joined them for their 2012 tour, and then I went on to make, three or four records with them before I left. So maybe
and one of them was
a
Grammy-winning album, or?
It was, yeah, the first album I recorded with them. I played on that record, sang on it, played a couple different instruments, mainly rhythm guitar and harmonies, and then I was a co-writer on several songs on that record too. And that was the first music they had that released under Old Crow that won a Grammy for Best Folk Album in 2014. So that was really exciting. Yeah, long overdue for those guys, and I hit a home run right out of the gate for me, so good for everybody. Yeah, it's a nice honor to receive. It's great to get those recognitions.
You discovered old-time mountain music in your early 20s. Can you kind of recall what your thoughts were back then because you originally were listening to like grunge music, right?
Yeah, I basically grew up, watching MTV like every other kid in the 90s. And so my whole, record collection was just a handful of CDs that I bought at the mall growing up. Not much of a music collection. And the CDs that I'd heard from my parents and things like that. I got some good stuff from my parents' record collections. But then I really didn't know much about old-time music until a fiddler named Jerry Milnes from the Augusta Heritage Center came to play at the local library in Harpers Ferry, and I went and saw his solo fiddle performance, and I was really into it. And at that time, I was sort of interested in bluegrass as well, and I had a really great guitar teacher named Danny Nicely for a little while, teaching me some bluegrass stuff. And he's the one that turned me on to the festival circuit for the fiddlers conventions in the South. So that's kind of that time. That's when I started going on these road trips. I had this old beat-up 1979 Ford F-150 pickup truck, with no paint, primer gray, and put a cap on that. And then started going to the fiddlers conventions and went to Galax and Cliff Top and Mount Airy and all these other wonderful places. And that's when I really caught the bug and discovered how beautiful the music was, because I think that you have to experience it, especially on a mountaintop next to a campfire. That's the best way to hear that music. Being
surrounded by many, many, many others who are at the top of their game already, and learning from them firsthand, I imagine that's a great experience. Yeah,
that's the way to go. And that's the education you need. Is you sit a couple chairs behind them and hope they don't hear you screeching out your off notes, trying to learn from them. So yeah, I watched and I learned, and people are very kind and accepting in that folk genre, the old time music, mountain music genre. So they want people to come in, they want people to learn. So it's very accepting, and people brought me into the fold, and I was able to learn from some really incredible musicians along the way. And there's some older folks out there, and there's already people 20 years old that were masters. It was pretty amazing. So I got to learn from a pretty varied group of people.
You're very fortunate, yeah. Before I let you go, I want to hear a story about the Speakeasy Boys and how you'd go out, and I think it was on Sundays, and sell beer and catfish to college kids, and while they were eating and drinking, they'd be listening to your band, the Speakeasy Boys, play, right?
Yeah. We said we had these bumper stickers made up that said, "We're not a band, we're a party." Basically, we basically there was a house on the the Potomac River outside Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and Shepherdstown, West Virginia has a university there, Shepherd, and so it has a young population of folks coming to school there, and we're about that age, kind of postgraduate age, mid-20s, and a friend of ours rented a house kind of right above the river. He didn't rent the house; he rented the basement. And so there was this local bar in town that had shut down in Shepherdstown, and it kind of been condemned. I think somebody had been taking money out of the till. There was some, cocaine involved. I'm not sure, but it got shut down, and it was kind of just vacant for a while. And somebody got the keys, and we went in there and we stole the bar from this condemned establishment in town. So we stole the bar, and then we brought that, it's 20
pickup truck,
20-foot long slab of wood. Yeah, so I brought this 20-foot long slab of wood down to this basement outside of town, and we installed that, and we installed basically like a kegerator. We put a keg in a fridge and drill a hole through it for the tap, and we would buy kegs, and we'd sell beer $1 a pint illegally, and that would basically pay for us to have a really, really good time. And the Speakeasy Boys, there was many people in the Speakeasy Boys. Everybody I knew was in the Speakeasy Boys. It was an open door policy band, and we'd all get together and we'd play bluegrass songs, we'd play old time songs, whatever people were feeling, stuff by some Grateful Dead even. I mean, whatever people were feeling, we'd just go ahead and play it. And we had a washtub bass and about five guitars, and sometimes we had fiddle, banjo. That's where I cut my first fiddle chops, was playing fiddle in that band. And we just decided every Sunday we were going to get together and jam, and that kind of just blew up. And next thing we knew, there's like 300 college kids were coming down every Sunday to buy this illegal beer out of the Speakeasy and listen to his jam. And there was this guy that he used to go out on the river in a flatboat right there on the Potomac, and he used to fish catfish, and he'd bring it back up to the lawn, and he had a 50-gallon drum. He'd fill up the firewood, and he would cook that catfish there, and people would eat it. So it was quite the scene. It was a really, really good time, and I think everybody, looks back with fond memories.
Definitely sounds like a good time. Just like it's going to be a good time at the Mountain Music Fest in West Virginia at Ace Resort. Well, thank you very much, Chance, and best of luck to you. And hope everybody gets a chance to check out your music. I've seen you performing with JP on YouTube there. You guys work very well together.
Thank you. Yeah, I just produced his upcoming solo record, and JP and a lot of artists I play with them on their masters and their cuts on their records. So very, very excited about that. There's 2 videos that he's already released. Closer to the Mill, JP Harris, Closer to the Mill. Check that one out. And then I believe Wish I Was a Mole in the Ground as well that I'm featured on, and we shot the music videos in some really cool spots. So they're worth checking out, and appreciate the shout out.
Thank you, Chance. Please stand low.
You're welcome.